Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How you doing, everyone? Savage here with you for yet another episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Podcasting, as usual, from Cranium Wheel Studios at Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California. Just a couple hours east of downtown Hollywood, but a world away at just under 6,000 feet, high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. Before we get started with my in-studio guest for today's podcast, I want to remind you about our official lodging sponsor for the Idyllwild International Film Festival, the Talk Eats Pines Retreat and Conference Center, an amazingly gorgeous venue near downtown Idyllwild with fine dining on site and some of the most beautiful lodging, cottages, and rooms to be found anywhere in any mountain village, as well as facilities to handle any of your retreat or conference needs, or just a great place for a family stay or romantic getaway. Talk Eats Pines Retreat. Give them a call at 951-659-2934 and tell them you heard about them on this podcast. Okay, on with the show. My guests for this episode, a couple of amazing young women, filmmakers and visionaries whom I've gotten to know quite well as of late and have come to admire them very much. They're here in Idyllwild this weekend to do some location scouting and investigations on what Idyllwild has to offer for film production companies at every level of budget. They're also Disney Studios production mainstays and are currently involved in an extremely interesting studio project happening in San Diego, California over the next couple years and beyond. They're also big winners at this past Idyllwild Film Festival with awards in many categories for their film Stone Garden. They were also screening Homeward Dawn, is that correct, ladies? And Ripple. So let me welcome into the studio Alysha Haran and Jacquelyn Ryan. Welcome, ladies. And I should say welcome back to Alysha because you were here in studio during the past film festival in March, prompting your films, promoting, right?
That's right. And I'm so happy to be back. Thank you.
And Jackie, this is your first time on the podcast.
It is. Thank you for having me.
So welcome. And, well, let's just start off with telling us about, you don't have to get too deep into it, but what are you doing here in Idyllwild?
Yeah. You want to go?
Sure. So we have a number of projects on the slate. We recently put together our LLC to officially start moving forward with some of the things that we've got in development. And one of the things that we're looking at in the next year is our first feature film, which is called Lost Light. And there's a big scenic element, and Idyllwild is the perfect place for that story to take place. So we are up here to scout and see what Idyllwild has to offer.
And Alysha, you're an amazing producer, and Alysha, you're an amazing director, and Jackie, just so you guys know, is her producer, and so they're up here doing filmy stuff. And I was telling you guys last night that I used to look at Idyllwild as my secret hideaway where I could make movies, and I did feature films and 200 commercials up here, and now it's kind of, I'm okay with letting the word out now. I think I've said all I can say in Idyllwild, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you guys are here, and it's exciting that you're going to be shooting a feature film up there.
It's so exciting, and it actually helps it to feel real for us, because I think, when you have words on the page or ideas in your head, it doesn't feel real until you can kind of match the thing that's in your head to what exists physically.
Yeah.
So.
And I was teasing Alysha last night because she really hasn't finished the script yet. But she's up here location scouting. Good for you. Very bold move.
Yes.
Thank you so much for letting everyone know that.
I'm not going to let it slide by. Alysha has a very strong military background, and I'll let her talk about that in a minute. But for somebody who was such a disciplined naval officer, you're really not very disciplined in the writing area.
No, because I keep
Called you
trying
out.
to tell everybody that I'm not a writer and I don't want to be a writer. But the problem is, it just ends up that task just ends up continuing to fall to me.
But
so.
she's really good at it. So even though she doesn't love it, like she's clearly got an affinity for it. So.
I think that's funny. All great writers, and I won't put that on you just yet.
Sure, please, thank you.
All great writers talk about how much they hate it. It is
Yeah.
a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And as far as I go, I mean, it's man, I put it off until then all of a sudden, about a page into any screenplay, I'm good to go and I'm excited about it. But it's just the startup.
Yeah, and I think it is an evolution going back to sort of my military history. I spent 17 years in the Navy, and so I wasn't able to focus on directing, but I was able to focus on writing because it was, you can take a laptop with you on deployment. And so I studied it, and I spent a lot of years. I have a degree in it, and I spent many, many years working at it. So I acknowledge that, it's a skill I have, but it wasn't what I had originally started out to do. However, of late, now that I've gotten to sort of merge the writer and the director sides of me, I find I am actually kind of going through an evolution, becoming a writer director, and that is its own thing. And from that perspective, I'm okay learning a little bit more about who I am as a writer. Because I tried doing it where I really just sort of kept the director separate, and it didn't work for me. So I learned I needed to sort of let the director have a say in the process, and that's a much sort of more successful, more holistic approach that I can take. So being up here and letting the director sort of have a chance to walk around. I know
Be
I'm really,
free.
Yeah.
I realize I'm talking about myself in the third person here, but to just be able to exercise both sides of my brain is actually helping me kind of pin some things down that I was holding out. I had done a couple passes on some outlines, and just being up here answered a couple questions that I had outstanding. So
There's something about the creative flow when you come to Idyllwild. It's not
Yes.
like even other mountain towns don't quite have this.
yeah.
The fact that it's unincorporated, the fact that there are very few even sidewalks, there's no street lights, there's no McDonald's or KFC, there's no chain stores at all. Everything is mom and pop up here. And the fact is, we're lucky. I've been lucky because Idyllwild has become a very film-friendly location. And as you guys saw, I took them to a local pub last night that Alysha had been to before during the Idyllwild Film Festival this past March, and she said, I want to shoot here. And those people said, yeah, you're going to shoot a movie here? Great, let's do it. It wasn't even I don't know. You run into that a little bit, but mostly it's from people who aren't from Idyllwild. If they're from here, they're just,
Yeah, and
they're
what was
open.
really special about this project is from the moment I sort of conceived of the idea of it in my head, it took place in Idyllwild. So for it to sort of be coming together the way it is really something else.
But it's you get a creative flow when you come up. So
Yes, absolutely.
it just kind of it happens organically, which is cool. But again, I've shot 3 feature films here, a bunch of commercials, and every time a producer will say, "Yeah, we're going to shoot," like I was instrumental in bringing the FX show, The Old Man, with Jeff Bridges, and they wanted to shoot in Julian, and I went to the producers. No, man, just let me buy you lunch in Idyllwild. Just drive up. They were here 10 minutes. No, we're shooting here. So it does work, and I do it. I wouldn't have done that before because I just didn't want anybody else to be filming. Mary Pickford used to shoot up here, but that was way back.
Yeah.
She's no longer a threat to my little world. So that would be a hell of a threat. But so I just kind of opened myself after I started the film festival in 2010. I kind of started realizing that people would come to Idyllwild and want to film here. So since then, I have brought a lot of movies up here, and I'm not even saying movies of mine, but I just like helping other creatives find a spot to tell a story, and this is it. And you guys are only seeing Idyllwild. There's Garner Valley, where I shot a Western pilot that we're still shopping around. It's just like, it's amazing, you know,
Yeah.
just all the locations here. But anyway, enough about Idyllwild, I guess. I want to hear, you both, did you know each other before you both started working at Disney, or did you meet at Disney?
We met at Disney.
Did you?
Yeah. We met through the virtual production stage that used to exist at Disney Studios Burbank. We had a LED volume wall called the Infinity Stage. And so we had a bunch of visitors come through for various demos and whatnot. And executives obviously are trying to get the technology, used across our shows because it's really promising and it offers a lot. And so Alysha came by, and she actually had an idea for a project, which was a script for Stone Garden. And she approached us, and that was the first time that I met Alysha. That was probably about, 3 years now?
Yeah. Close
2 years.
to.
2 years.
2 years. No, a little
Was
over.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
You guys can fight it out
Yeah.
later.
yeah.
I think it's that weird, like, I don't know what day
It's
is
been like
it?
a vacuum the last couple of
right.
years. But yeah, so we met at Disney. We met through Alysha's project, Stone Garden. And thanks to the virtual production technology that we had at the time, it actually ended up being a perfect match for the story. And thanks to my boss at Disney, Meredith Meyer-Nichols, who runs the virtual production program and the production innovation program. She was open to us using this technology to kind of test it on Alysha's film. And it was kind of like a win-win for our department and a win-win for our production. And it worked out. And Alysha and I were able to develop a wonderful working relationship on that project.
Yes.
To me, I know you gave us this story during the film festival, but I'm going to make you do it again because
Okay.
it's so amazing. But Stone Garden won a lot of awards, and I think you won Best Director for a short film. Is that right? And a bunch of other good stuff. But I want Alysha to kind of give us, Jackie just started it, but if you guys could once again give us the background on this amazing short film that you just took a chance and said, hey, can I shoot my short film here on this amazing multi-million-dollar facility at Disney? So how give us the rundown on that.
Yeah, well, it's still just an incredible fortune that came to me. I had this script that I had written. It's on the fantasy side. I knew it was going to be, have some VFX or have some complicated filmmaking elements that I had not encountered as a director because I come from a theatrical background. So,
and this is kind of almost fantasy sci-fi feel.
That's exactly right.
Right.
So there needed to be some magical elements to it, something that made it feel like ethereal. Wasn't a couple of guys in a prison cell for 8 hours, like when we're done. So I had approached a coworker who's a post-production executive and asked if he wouldn't mind just workshopping the script with me, because I just wanted us to sit down and him to treat me as if I were one of the directors and us to just talk about it the way we would if that was a Disney project, so that I could get that practice. And he came running into my office and he's like, you have to make this. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to, but like, there's no where to make this. Like, there's no way. And he's like, well, what about stage one? And I was like, yeah, well, what about asking Staples Centers to open up so we could play a pickup game with our friends in there? Like, that's not going to happen. It's like, you're crazy. And he's
That's
like,
a great analogy. I love
yeah. He's like, well, you never know if you don't ask. And that was literally it. And I, when I came to each subsequent person, I so many people to credit was supporting this project and not, I was very careful to say, like, this is crazy. However, to let them know that I understood what I was asking. And at every point I was ready for them to be like, yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. But somehow it just, everything, like Jackie said, it was a win-win for all the people involved. ILM was able to come on board. There were a couple of sort of proofs of concept that the script lent itself to. And we had incredible people that just jumped on to the project. Aaron Okada, who's a very, very well-known cinematographer. Karen Wagner, who is a costume designer from The Notebook and The Green Mile and 688. And so the project really just grew into this incredible I
team
mean,
of
I
people.
was constantly pitching myself and looking at Jackie and being like, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this really
I
happening?
think you're going to wake up every morning.
Yep.
Oh, damn, that was a good dream. But
Yes.
It was, yeah. I mean, we had stage 1 full of crew. Like, it was an incredible, like, people just wanted to come. We had, like, an intern in the sound department that just wanted to be a part of the project, that just came there to learn what the sound department was doing. So, like, it really lent itself to, like, being open to education and, like, just being open to people who wanted to be involved and be a part of the process. And I think that was really, really cool.
when you're an indie filmmaker, that's as close to winning the lotto as you can get without winning the lotto. We had talked about that last night. What would you do if you won the lotto? Just make a bunch more movies.
It would be gone.
Yeah, I remember my thesis film is what got me my first real movie, and somebody said, "Well, if you did this for," I think I shot that for $6,000 in my thesis film. And if you could do this for $6,000, what could you do for $3 million? I'd make 150 of these.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And so you kind of have to embrace the good things that happen to you. You know, sometimes you just. And I don't even think it's luck. I think luck is just being prepared for opportunity. And I think you were prepared for the opportunity. And meeting Jackie, who kicks you in the ass once in a while. And
yes.
makes things
And vice versa.
That's good. That's really good. It's just all the films you make. So remember Nocturne, a movie
Yes,
that you brought that to the Idyllwild Film Festival in 2024, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was so impressed with that film. And I just knew you were going to be doing great things. And we're always so honored at Idyllwild when filmmakers we really like keep coming back to us, you know.
Well, Idyllwild, I'll say it again. I can't say it too many times. It's a very special festival. You all evaluate films for the quality of the filmmaker, the quality of the vision. And I've been part of a lot of film festivals, and you can tell when a festival has sort of an agenda and is looking for the films that fit into that idea that they have. And then you can tell when you encounter a festival that really celebrates and appreciates film.
Calling all writers. Got stories in your soul, poems in your pocket, or lyrics waiting to be heard? Then it's time to join the Art Alliance of Idyllwild, your creative home in the mountains. Whether you're published or just passionate, we're here to support and celebrate your voice. As a member, you'll connect with a vibrant community of artists, gain exposure for your work, and find unique opportunities to share your creativity. And right now, we've got a special offer just for you. Join by June 30th, 2025, and get a full annual membership for just $10. That's right, $10 to plug into Idyllwild's thriving creative scene. Head to artinidyllwild.org to sign up, and follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idyllwild to stay inspired. Let your words be seen. Let your voice be heard. Join us today.
I've been going back and forth, and I think I may have talked to one or both of you about bringing back our Women in Film Awards, which we had for years, and I stopped them because I went, I don't need to do that. The women are winning top awards just on their own. I don't need to be special. And so I've been doing my own personal survey at every festival, talking to female filmmakers, and what do you think? And it's about a half and half. And some say, yeah, I don't really need it. I don't even think about it. I just go, here's my movie. And so to me, it's like, I'm still on the fence. I don't know what I'll do, but because I know so many people in Women in Film, especially in Palm Springs, Women in Film in Palm Springs is a powerful force, and I know so many great people in that organization. And so I'm going to go to them last and say, well, this is my thoughts, and see what they think, because sometimes if I could get a grant out of it for the film festival, I would probably do it for that reason.
Sure.
Is that a reason? I don't know.
I kind of agree with you. I don't know that it would make me more inclined to apply to a festival if they had it. I think the merit of the film kind of standing on its own is
Jackie, you just hit it on the head for me.
Yeah.
That's probably the best reason, I think, to as an incentive for women filmmakers to want to come to our festival. We might be able to even up our submissions every year, because we average about 350 to 400 submissions, and we pick 150 films. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having 600 submissions, and if maybe but then you get into okay, what if I do African American Filmmakers Awards. That wouldn't feel right to me
Yeah.
because so many black filmmakers, men and women, have won a lot of major awards at our festival. So why would it? I have a lot of, you wouldn't know it looking at me, but I have a lot of Latino blood in me on my mom's side, Spanish and Northern Mexico, and but I've never thought about doing a Latino film festival because. You take like Oscar Torre, who's a friend of all of ours, and Oscar's a Latino filmmaker, but he never calls himself that. Yeah. And he also, his films are great, and he wins awards. He doesn't have to have special categories. So really, I'm on the fence. And what the idea you just gave me, Jackie, might bump me a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
Sorry for that ramble.
No, it's important. And I know we did talk about it last time I was here. And Soundgarden, Stone Garden. I like Soundgarden too. Stone Garden is, but just that story that you were able to get it made at Disney Studio on such a big facility. So again, I'm wondering how much inspiration did you get off that to move forward and go, now that I've done that, I can do anything? Well, I mean, I don't know that I'll ever get to the place where I have that confidence of like, well, I did that, so I can do anything. I think, like we said last night at dinner, it's like if everybody's doing their job right, nobody knows what you're about to film because it's never been made before.
Right.
And it's completely new. It's original. It's about responding to the resources you have in front of you, the people, right? I really believe in listening to my collaborators and fellow filmmakers. And that means that if I go in with just too much of an intention of like an idea of what I want, I'm not getting the best out of the people who are bringing decades of experience to the picture. So it's, I'm not interested in being first chair violin. I'm interested in being the conductor.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I don't get to hold any of the instruments.
Yeah.
And I have to make sure that all those people get a chance to play that instrument the best they can in that piece.
Right.
So, I think it will. I thought I was going to walk away from Stone Garden with a little more confidence than I did, but I think it was a pretty overwhelming
experience.
process.
I think post-production on that was quite an endeavor because there was a lot of little things to figure out, and we were lucky enough to have an onlining facility come in. Digital Film Tree came, and they helped us really to do even just some small visual effects that we had to do in post like that. Without them, it would have felt really kind of hard to achieve, but thanks to that, it was doable. But it was still a lot of things to do in post for Stone Garden. It took us quite a few months.
It did. And we actually ended up having a day of reshoots because I had, in the first iteration, I had the first edit I got back, there were some story issues. And I was up here with Nocturne when I got that edit, and I looked at it and I faced it and I was like, you know what, it doesn't work. And I opened my laptop up here and started rewriting the version that eventually we finished. But I will say one of the things that I learned was, they always say you never have enough time or money, right? And so I was like, because this was sort of like shooting a short film within a big budget feature.
Right.
But I think every film is a short film within a big budget feature.
At least in our minds.
Yeah. I think you're just trying to be like the best, do the best you can and get the most out of what you can. So really, I don't think it ever will matter how big your budget is. You're always just going to be trying to get the most out of it that you can.
I think if you don't look at it that way, then you're doing it a disservice.
Yes.
And that it comes down to movies that maybe have technical issues because of time and money. You can still see a director's collaboration with actors, with the screenplay. You can still see that vision. That's why in Idyllwild, we could just pick the cream of the crop and show only 100 movies, and then we'd be fine. But I want to have that extra space to have those filmmakers who come in with their credit card movies that cost them $5,000. And if I can see the vision, and our grand jury is the same way, if we can see there's a vision there, I'm going to bring that film in, even though it's kind of clunky. But we all say things like, I know for a fact, and Alysha, you're the same. We're experienced enough directors that if you gave me Spielberg's budget for, let's say, Saving Private Ryan, yeah, I could probably make that movie with that budget, but there's something about Spielberg that makes that movie, and there's something about the way he works with actors and how the way screenplays work. You're never going to find that. I think Denzel said it best. He said, yeah, I could make Scorsese's Italian movies, but they wouldn't be Scorsese movies. There's something about it. So, like with actors, we as audiences, we lock into certain actors. We just like them. And so we'll go see anything. And, well, that one was kind of missed, but the next one will be great, and it always is. And I think what it boils down to is the filmmaker themselves. So producers are a big thing. There's so many, you guys have met them all, so many producers in Hollywood who are just talking a game. But when you meet a real one, producers can just... they put a mark on a movie. You just can't, it's going to be a different movie if another producer's on there. And I think it doesn't matter what your budget is. If you have the support team involved in it, you're going to make a good movie.
Well, and that's where Jackie comes in. I mean, I don't know how I would have gotten through the last couple of years without Jackie, and the partnership is so inspiring to me because I'm like, well, I want to do something, bigger and better, and because I know she wants to also, and so we want to like feed off of each other and keep growing this. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I think Alysha got some really incredible compliments at Idyllwild where people would watch all 3 of her films and be like, I could tell that was your film. I didn't even have to see the credit. I knew that. I watched it and I could sense it was like your signature, people could see that, and I think that's so important. It was such a compliment.
That kind of blew me away.
Well,
it's great because I was just making it up as I went along. So
we've always had a rule about if somebody sends in more than one submission, we will just pick one. But Alysha's one of those. Well, she's an alumni filmmaker here at Idyllwild, but she's one of those people that, well, I'm not. All 3 of your films elevated the festival as a whole, and again, I do want to give a voice to those first or second time filmmakers who aren't quite there, but they're making movies. But I still need the Alyshas to. I need filmmakers like that to kind of keep it legitimate, I guess is what it said. What I'm trying to say. Although all filmmakers are legitimate, just you need those certain filmmakers who keep coming back to you and bringing you quality work to keep your festival really alive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to build her head up any bigger than
we don't need to. But I'll tell you, like I love watching films and film festivals. Like I get so much inspiration, and I actually think I get some of the most inspiration from those first time filmmakers, right? Because there's so much heart, and they're not being told what they can and can't do, and they're not second guessing themselves, and you're just like, wow. Like there was one film I remember, The Man in the Blue Suit, that was just this cute little film. And I was just like, I can't wait to see what that director does next. Like, it's just, they're just going to get better and better and better. And I really enjoyed that film. It was, So I get a lot out of it.
I think that's a great point, is how I try to explain to filmmakers, what the work you're doing inspires people, even at an early level.
That's right.
There was a guy from Kentucky, Don Holloway. He brought us a movie which he made on no money. He edited in the Starbucks because he didn't have Wi-Fi, and he didn't have, so, and it was just about his community. It was about a small town black community in Kentucky, and he just wrote it around people he grew up listening to, his dad's friends, It's just about a guy who's working on an engine, and a car engine that hangs from a tree. It was called Treetop Mechanic or something like that. But it was just this older man working on the same Chevy small block engine, and all the people his friends would bring lawn chairs and sit on them and just talk. And there was a little bit of a backstory, but a little bit of a side, a B plot that. But the most fascinating thing to me was that, you do inspire people. One of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten as a director is 2 actresses who I admire a lot. One of them is my friend, we've talked about, Irene Bedard. Yeah. And she said, "You write so great for women. I've never met a male screenwriter who writes for women." And I said, "I'm not a genius." Those are the conversations I would be in bed upstairs listening to my mom and her sister and all their friends drinking a glass of wine and talking. And so this group of women in my movie, those conversations are just derivative of all of that.
Right.
It just embeds itself into your brain. So, yeah, I don't know. You can, and then it goes back to who you steal from. If you don't know film history, you don't know who to steal from. And so I see a lot of films submitted to the film festival. I guess that's another zombie movie. I thought that died 10 years ago. No, okay, another vampire movie. I thought that, but no, people. So those people, I'm thinking, it's not just that they don't have a vision. It's they're not being fed what they need to be fed. So if they're not watching Turner Classic Movies, which is Don Holloway, he said, "Yeah, I wrote all these 30s and 40s movies. That's where I learned. I learned from white people movies how to put that into my black community." And I went, "That's why you learn who to steal from, you know." And so I think the one thing about Alysha's directing, though, is I don't really. There's so much uniqueness. You do so much that's really different. And Stone Garden is so unique. It's just a different movie.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it. You know, yeah. And it's interesting, like, we've been going through the festival circuit with it, and we're still kind of in the very beginning of it. Idyllwild was our premiere, so it's kind of working its way through its festival circuit, and we were a little bit ambitious in the number of festivals that we applied to and the caliber of festivals that we applied to. So of course we're seeing a little bit more rejection than I think coming off of Idyllwild we were hoping to, and it's been a bit of a learning curve for us because we've had to. It's been, you know, it's made us doubt our abilities to some level where we're like, oh, okay, well, what could we have done better? Is there something that we didn't do well or something, you know? And it you kind of have to divorce yourself from that and be like, am I proud of the movie it is? Because I can walk away feeling a little bit bummed, but as long as I know that it's the best it can be, then I can still be happy about it. And I don't really care that I didn't get into, you know,
X, Y, or Z.
X, Y, Z, yeah.
And I think it is always important, and that's why I do talk about the fact that, you know, I had to rewrite the story. I had to go back and do a day of reshoots because I didn't get it right on the first try. Because it's very easy to sort of see a film get into a festival and win awards, and then you think, well, you think there were no obstacles to getting to that point. And in reality, it's all obstacles, right? And the art of filmmaking is how you overcome those obstacles. And I think the other element is that it's really easy to sort of compare yourself to someone else and they're winning awards and you're not. And you're like, I guess I'm not good enough. And it's so important we read an article that said if a film on the circuit has like a 20 to 30% acceptance rate, that's considered extremely successful. So rejection is just completely part of it. And I'm very much about like being open about that because we all feel it, we all experience it, but we don't talk about it. We just tend to celebrate our wins, but that's only half the story.
It's not the full picture.
The best thing I ever learned, and then when I was teaching at AFI, the first year directors, and I said, learn who the gatekeepers are at a festival, because Sundance, that film Cosmic Radio, that one we screened at Sundance. I think we had 3 screenings, 2009 or 2008, don't remember, but that film was walked in. I had no thought that it would. So we were accepted at Palm Springs International Film Festival. That was our premiere, and then everybody said, "Oh, you won't get into Sundance now because you've premiered it." And then it was a couple of the Native American actors in the movie liked the movie so much that they took it to Sundance to the Native Film Studies portion of the Institute and walked us in. And that's when I learned movies at bigger festivals, you have to kind of get to know somebody. That's part of the homework, is get to know somebody who's a gate, like at Cannes. I'm so proud that I have 2 really close friends who were instrumental in getting films into Cannes. You've got to know somebody at those bigger festivals, because at Sundance, it used to be, remember, you'd send your DVD.
Yes.
It was
Yep.
like crazy, and that's what it was in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be some film student at the Sundance Institute would open it, and it, okay, well, I'm not into movies about small town radio stations, and it just gets tossed.
Right.
Nobody sees it. One person sees it who doesn't quite. They're into like we said, vampire movies or something, and that person who happens to be given that stack of movies, and yours is in there. So it's there's film festivals are something you have to. It's a game you have to play correctly.
Yes.
And knowing, because when you get accepted at a film like at Idyllwild, and yet the next festival, which is no better, no worse, and they don't accept you, you start second guessing.
You totally do.
Yeah.
And we've really had to kind
have.
of work through that process together.
Yeah.
And I think we had that conversation about like, well, and going back to your comment about, my stuff being unique or, what it is, I really appreciate that compliment. I don't know what it is that I do that makes my films what they are. I know that I think there's an old adage in jazz, which is imitate, assimilate, innovate. That's the whole way you learn jazz. So I very much try to look at what is good and what is successful. And this is sort of how I taught myself how to play music, by trying to do what I liked. And then it just sort of, I don't know, it just like a couple degrees off, and it was my version.
Right.
But it was always this effort to try to fit in, to try to, meet that expectation of like, this is what that is. And I think I'm learning to just be comfortable with my films are going to come out the way that my films are going to come out, because they're coming from me.
Right.
And trusting myself in that process. And we did have a long conversation of like, should we consider, we love Stone Garden, and it's a fairy tale, and it's unique. And I don't think it's something that filmmakers, when they're trying to fit in the zeitgeist of filmmaking, go, oh, I'm going to do this. They kind of take, a subject, maybe a commonly explored subject, and they put their stamp on it. And Stone Garden is from somewhere else, really.
It really is.
So I think we did, it was a good exercise for us to confirm that we're just going to stick to our guns, and we're just going to keep making the films that we like, that we believe in.
I think that's, do you guys know about Rebecca Louisa Smith, the film festival doctor?
No.
I'm going to give a plug for another podcast.
Great.
But the film festival doctor, Rebecca Smith, she's an actual doctor. She got into filmmaking from the independent sort of realm, and she started this company where they fit films to festivals. And when you think about how much money people spend to get rejections, she looks at your film and says, you're going to get rejected there, but you will. There's a track record for showing your type of film at these festivals.
Interesting.
And some of them are very small, but some of them, South by Southwest. She places films in big festivals like that. And she's very honest. She does charge a fee, but by the time you pay her, it's a lot less than if you fork out money.
Thousands.
Thousands of dollars,
Film festivals are expensive to submit.
It is.
They really
And
are.
And a lot of them don't give you any choice
No,
when you're
or no
screening.
feedback. So you get rejected, and you're like, okay, well, right, all right.
And I understand why it's just hard. You don't have the staffing year round. Of course, we staff up for the actual festival, but those other 11 months, there's just no staff. So it's like Trinity and her team, my executive producer there. There's a couple of them that will answer emails and stuff, but they're not really year-round involved in the festival. And that would be nice to have that, but it doesn't happen. So you're not going to get a lot of feedback. But if, I'll say it's the Film Festival Doctor, and just look up her website, listen to her podcast. And if you're a new filmmaker, go that route, because she will get you a lot of acceptance. You'll get accepted at so many festivals.
Well, and I think it's really important, because you don't know why your film isn't getting accepted. And quite often when they send those rejection emails that say, we have to pass on a lot of quality films, that is true. And we look at some of the films that we're in the circuit with, and they're getting accepted to festivals that we applied to and not getting in, and vice versa, right? And so there is a just like you said, it depends on who opens the DVD and watches
Yeah.
it, what they watched before they watched yours, what they watch after.
Right.
When it comes down to it,
Yeah.
if it's a minute too long, it's so much stuff that may not have nothing to do with
Programming.
your film.
People don't realize that film festivals have to program, and
Yeah.
if
That's
you
right.
have, we can't show. We reject some really good feature films. We just don't have time for them.
Yeah.
And feature films cost film festivals money because if you're bringing in a feature film and it's taking up a 2.5 hour block, which
Yeah.
means you could accept that many more short films, then they're actually not cost effective for the
Right.
film festival because the filmmakers show up. So you got a feature film and you have 3 people show up from that film. But if you have a block of an hour and a half of shorts, you got 60 people showing
Right.
up for that,
Yeah.
or 50, whatever it is, however many you schedule. So yeah, I think filmmakers need to kind of understand what film festivals are, and then we do our best to bring in distribution. I tell the distributors every year at Idyllwild, stop being so secretive, because they don't want to have to explain to people why they didn't like their film.
Sure.
And if they show up at the festival, they'll introduce themselves to me, but they'll always say, just don't tell anybody I'm here, because they just go around and watch what they see other people talking about.
Sure.
And they don't want to be known. But this year at Idyllwild, we're doing our first, next year rather, 2026, we're doing our first film market.
That's
Great.
amazing.
So what's
Yeah.
going to happen is the distributors will be there at the director. You guys, you came to the director's mixer? Yeah. That's when it's going to be, is right then. We're
Great.
going to extend that to 2 hours, and you'll be able to buy a little table, set up your poster on an easel, and you'll be then each distributor, and I think there'll be 6 this year,
Amazing.
will come and directly talk to you about your film. And so I think that's
wonderful,
I think-
Stephen.
I think a lot of film festivals are doing that now, giving the direct access.
Yes.
Distributors don't want people to know they're there because they don't have to talk to them.
Yeah. But I think, by you having it kind of in a select way where it's just the directors or it's like a really small
Yeah.
knit group of filmmakers, it makes it a little bit more personal. I
Yeah.
think that's a really wonderful idea.
And I just think it's something that it's time that because we are a filmmakers film festival, we're not about the schmooziness. Every once in a while I'll bring my famous friends in. Every year there's somebody who's pretty well known at the festival, because I get my knee pads out and I beg them to show up, But filmmakers don't come to festivals to meet actors, famous actors. Maybe directors and producers they will. But actors is just kind of a little cherry on top of things. But what they really want to do is, or they don't want people to teach them filmmaking. And I think a lot of film festivals make the mistake of doing seminars. They're going to show you how to make your film, and you're going, I already made my film. It's here. I want to talk to people who can
Give me
get
money.
me to the next step,
Yes,
get me
exactly.
paid, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that's where we gear ourselves more toward that. And of course, a couple years ago when Ann Archer came back to the festival, I did a Q&A on stage with her, and it was packed, and it was great.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking, I'm not really doing a service to the filmmakers, but Ann is so great giving of her time, and it was really good. But I want to figure out how to give more time, not just talk to my friends on stage. And
Right.
it doesn't really give the filmmakers anything, really. Can we move into talking about this new studio project, as much as you guys can give away, happening in San Diego?
Absolutely. I'm very happy to talk about this. So a dear friend of mine, Aaron Roberts, he's a San Diego native. Currently the project is being referred to as CVEC, which stands for the Chula Vista Entertainment Complex. Back in the mid 2000s, the only option that you could go through to produce in San Diego was called Stu Siegel Studios. And he closed his shop down. He handed it over to the military to do training videos. And that was really the end of the film business having a presence and a footprint in San Diego. And what followed was the film commission shut down. And it kind of just dried up. And Aaron had the vision to find a way to bring the film business back to San Diego. And so the project is a multi-phase project, and it also has a lot of different arms to the business. But the phase 2 part, which is sort of the big exciting part, is that we will be building 90,000 square feet of sound stages in Chula Vista. They will be virtual production capable stages, meaning they will be outfitted to support the virtual production technology. They will also be available to be used dry. But it will be a purpose-built facility that is commensurate to the largest sound stages in Los Angeles. Again, this is a symbiotic sort of effort because we can't just build a stage and then expect people to come shoot there unless we also do the work to rebuild the union roster. So they're working with the IATSE 122 local union down there. Workforce development to make sure that the communities of San Diego are part of the building of the workforce. Education, cross-border initiatives as they're so close to Mexico. And then one of the really big efforts is joining the effort to bring film production back to California through lobbying for the tax incentives, the state tax incentives. While the majority of it will always go to Los Angeles, they're going to always be a 2/3 stakeholder. The state of California needs the film business to exist in places other than Los Angeles. So this project is creating that footprint. And then our long-term goals include building more sound stages and eventually a Hollywood-style backlot on a lot of the undeveloped land that's down there.
That's crazy when you think of it. It's like Stone Garden. You know, it's like this thing where it's like
if you
can't
build
even,
it.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you build it, filmmakers will shoot there.
That's right.
And just a real quick announcement. Yeah, I've already set up one of my films. As soon as the studio is up and running, we're going to go there, and Alysha and Jackie are going to help us through that process. And
That's right.
I'm going to be one of the early films to film.
You
there,
are.
so.
You are going to be
The guinea pig.
the guinea pig. So as we're building these big, beautiful stages, which will be built by the architects who have built all the modern stages in Los Angeles, we're going to put up a pop-up facility, custom built to your specs.
Sweet.
It'll be a little Cirque du Soleil, you know, you'll have piped water and generator power, but it's going to be exactly what you need. And we're so excited that, you know, as early as next summer, we'll have you in there filming.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And it's probably going to be the film. I can't give too much away now, but it's a big outdoor thing that we're going to shoot mostly in Utah and Colorado. But all of the sort of CGI LED stuff that we need, because it does have a Raiders of the Lost Ark element to it, you know. And so it just kind of was kismet. I'm thinking, well, what soundstage in LA am I going to have to use? And then I got to know Alysha and then Jackie. And before I knew it, I'm telling my producers, I think we got a home for this. So I'm excited about that.
We are too. We absolutely are too. And the project's moving so fast. And there's lots of information on the website if you're interested. And if you're local to San Diego, there are constant community meetups and a lot of events that are happening down there, and a lot of different ways for people to get involved and to be supportive. And for anyone who has a production company or may have future projects that they would like to bring to CVEC in the future, currently as we're in this fundraising phase, which is going extremely well, we are working with various production companies to engage them in letters of intent, which
there's a state bill surrounding this as well, correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So please, if there's anybody interested in learning more, Chula Vista Entertainment Center, CVEC.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you guys about that before I let you go. Is how do people find out more about this? Is there a big online presence yet?
Yep, the social media is gathering. We've definitely gotten a large seat at the table as far as lobbying for so the city of Chula Vista is incredibly supportive. The county of San Diego is very supportive. And then obviously we have the state credits. So when all of those triple layer tax credits come through, we will be the most competitive place to shoot in California and also largely in the US. So that is how we are going to be able to make it affordable for people to shoot there. And then the other thing that we're remaining incredibly focused on is because we are a private company, making sure that that tech is available to the emerging filmmaker and the indie filmmaker.
Right.
So we're lobbying for a larger carve out specifically for indie film makers.
That's great.
Yes, because we don't want the studio and the facility to end up sort of being only affordable by
LA South.
That's
it's Hollywood
right.
South. Yeah.
That's right.
It's just like film festivals are more and more, you know, so many. When I first started Idyllwild, I thought, I just want big productions here. I want big Hollywood studio films. And then I realized, why? I'm not there yet. What am I doing? You know,
Right.
so it's like, it's crazy. But yeah, I would encourage everyone to kind of dive in on social media and online and find out more about this project. And it's exciting to me. And again, because I filmed so much in Idyllwild, and I spent so much of my childhood was here in Idyllwild, but also San Diego County. That's where my family is from. I was born in Orange County, but my mom's people were all San Diego County.
Yeah,
So I'm going back there to shoot movies. So it's kind of keeping it at home, which is good.
That's awesome.
Well, there you go. I'm going to let these guys go and get back to their job of trying to find locations here in Idyllwild for their new film, which is exciting. And we'll try to keep you guys updated on how the filming's going when it gets started. I like that BTS kind of stuff, you know. So for Nicole Hughes, podcast executive producer Steve Tuma, mixing engineer Maurice Sudo, the entire Savage Podcasting Network team, and myself, and of course for Alysha Haran and Jacquelyn Ryan, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you so
Stephen.
much.